You're sitting in a lawyer's office. The air is thick, your palms are sweating, and across from you is the man who married your mother, the man who promised to take care of your family. But instead, he just took everything. The house your grandpa built with his bare hands, the savings your mama scraped together for 30 years, the life insurance money that was supposed to keep you and your kids safe. Gone. All of it. Signed away in documents your mother never fully understood. And the worst part? He did it legally. Or at least that's what everyone thought. Because what this mother did next, it didn't just save her family's inheritance, it exposed a man nobody ever suspected. But before I tell you how she pulled it off, let me take you back to where it all started. Oh, and real quick, if you're new here, this is where we tell stories about betrayal, revenge, and the moment the underdog finally wins. So if that's your thing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. So here's the deal. Karen Mitchell grew up in a small town outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Nothing fancy, just a regular family. Her grandpa, Harold, was a carpenter, built their family home from the ground up back in 1971. Every wall, every floorboard, every single nail, his hands. When Harold passed in 2009, he left everything to Karen's mama, Diane. The house, a modest savings account, a small life insurance policy. Nothing crazy, but enough to keep the family comfortable. For a while, things were fine. Diane was grieving, sure, but she had Karen. She had her 2 grandbabies. They were managing. And then Richard showed up. Richard Lawson. Charming, well-spoken, always showed up with flowers and a smile that could sell you oceanfront property in Kansas. He met Diane at a church potluck, swept her off her feet. Within 8 months, they were married. And Karen, she had a bad feeling from day one. She told her mama, something about him ain't right. But Diane was in love, and when someone's in love, they don't hear warnings. They hear jealousy. So Karen stepped back, kept her distance, hoped for the best. That was her first mistake. See, Richard wasn't just some smooth-talking boyfriend. Dude had a playbook. Within the first year of the marriage, he convinced Diane to add his name to the house deed. It's just a formality, baby, for taxes. That's what he told her. Year 2, he got power of attorney. Just in case something happens to you, sweetheart, I want to make sure the kids are taken care of. Sounds sweet, right? Almost romantic. Except, here's the thing. Diane was already showing early signs of dementia, and Richard knew it. He saw the forgetfulness. He saw her misplacing bills, repeating questions, losing track of dates. And instead of getting her help, he used it. Over the next 3 years, Richard quietly transferred assets out of Diane's name and into his own. The savings account? Drained. The life insurance beneficiary changed from Karen to Richard. The house? He took out a second mortgage Diane never agreed to. By the time Karen found out, it was 2018. Her mama was in a full-time care facility. And Richard? Richard was living in that house, Harold's house, with a brand new truck in the driveway and a woman half his age on his arm. Karen felt sick, literally sick. She sat in her car outside that house and cried for 45 minutes straight. But here's the thing about Karen Mitchell. She wasn't the crying type for long. After Diane was moved into assisted living, Karen started cleaning out her mama's old bedroom. Richard had already taken most of the valuables, the jewelry, the electronics, the good furniture. But he left the junk. Old photo albums, Christmas ornaments, some boxes of old Harold stuff from the garage. And in one of those boxes, buried under a stack of old tax returns from the 90s, Karen found an envelope. Y'all, this envelope, it wasn't just any envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter from Grandpa Harold, dated 2 months before he passed. And clipped to that letter, a key, a tiny brass key with a number stamped on it. The letter said, "Diane, if you're reading this, then I'm already gone. This key goes to a safety deposit box at First National, box 247. Everything you need is inside. Don't let anyone take what's yours. And if they try, you fight. You hear me? You fight. Karen's hands were shaking. She drove straight to the bank. Inside box 247, Harold had left copies of everything: the original house deed in Diane's name only, a notarized letter stating his wishes for the property, and this is the part that floored Karen, a second life insurance policy, one that Richard never knew about, worth $180,000, and the sole beneficiary? Karen. Harold knew. Somehow, that old carpenter who barely finished high school, he knew someone might come along and try to take it all. So he built a backup plan, just like he built that house, solid, hidden, and meant to last. Now here's where it gets real. Karen took everything, the letter, the original deed, and the insurance policy, to an elder law attorney named Patricia Owens. Patricia took one look at those documents and said 3 words Karen will never forget: "We've got him." See, what Richard did wasn't just shady, it was straight up elder financial abuse. And in North Carolina, that's a felony. Patricia filed a civil suit and contacted the district attorney's office. The charges? Financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, fraud, forgery on the power of attorney documents, because get this, they found that Richard signed papers after her dementia diagnosis, papers she didn't have the legal capacity to sign. Richard, he laughed it off at first, literally told his drinking buddies, "That girl doesn't have a leg to stand on." But in the courtroom, it was a whole different story. Karen sat on that witness stand and laid it all out. Every document, every date, every lie Richard told. She showed the bank records. She showed the forged signatures. She played a voicemail where Richard told Diane's sister, and I quote, "Diane doesn't know what she's signing anymore. That's kind of the point." The courtroom went silent. Richard's lawyer tried to argue it was a family misunderstanding. The judge wasn't having it. The ruling came down on a Tuesday afternoon in March. The judge voided every single document Richard manipulated. The house, back in Diane's name, with Karen as the legal guardian of the estate. The drained savings, Richard was ordered to pay full restitution, every last penny. And that second mortgage he took out, the bank came after him personally, not Diane, not Karen, him. But it didn't stop there. The DA pressed criminal charges. Richard was arrested in the courthouse parking lot, handcuffs, police escort, the whole 9 yards. He was later convicted of elder financial exploitation, sentenced to 4 years in state prison, and ordered to pay over $340,000 in restitution. And that woman he'd been parading around Harold's house, she disappeared faster than a Snapchat message. Gone. Poof. Wasn't interested in a man who was about to trade his pickup truck for a prison jute suit. Karen moved her mama back into that house, hired a full-time nurse, planted flowers in the front yard, the same yellow roses Grandpa Harold used to grow. And that key, the one Harold hid in that envelope, Karen wears it on a chain around her neck every single day. Here's the thing, y'all. Richard thought he had it all figured out. He thought because Diane was vulnerable, because Karen was just a single mom with 2 kids and a tight budget, he thought they'd never fight back. But he underestimated one thing: a granddaughter who inherited more than property from Harold Mitchell. She inherited his grit, his stubbornness, and his refusal to let anyone take what wasn't theirs. So if you're out there right now, dealing with someone who's taking advantage of someone you love, don't stay quiet. Don't assume it's too late. Find the envelope, find the proof, find your fight. Because trust me, karma might be slow, but she always shows up. If this story hit you in the chest the way it hit me, smash that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe and tap that bell icon so you never miss a story. Because next one, we've got one that's even crazier. A wife who found hidden cameras in her own house, planted by the one person she trusted most. I'll see you there.